So ours is guided reading.
Okay, so what is it? It's like teachers are gonna group their students into the same level of reading that they are, and they're all gonna read on the same level of books. The thing that it works on, it actually focuses on all 5 of the reading components. Students are gonna read aloud, they can read themselves, they can read with partners, they can do a bunch of different strategies. Their books are chosen on their reading level. The steps to have a successful guided reading is, set the scene, picture walk, have them look at the pictures before they actually read, and then read the text, return to the text, and kind of just like talk about, hey, what did you learn, and stuff like that, and then just kind of like have discussion questions at the end, just kind of respond to one another.
Yeah, and just building off of that, those 5 things are not necessarily the exact steps you always need to go through, but those are things that we just found on a website that a teacher created. I think it was Dr. Walshire or something like that. And he found that in his experiences, and his experiences like that other people have told him about, those are the 5 main things. So it's not like you have to do exactly those, but those have worked well for him. Okay, so there's a bunch of ways to decide groups. 3 of the main ones that teachers used are like assessment books or programs, like the Developmental Reading Assessment, Fountas and Pinnell Benchmark, or Wrigley PM Benchmark. Those are, they'd be equal for everybody, and yeah, a lot of people use those. But if they don't have assessment books like that, teachers can find their own ways, and a lot of times they do that by picking out different levels of books and then doing running records with the kids on those books, and if they score a 90 to a 94% on that book, then they're in that group. So it sort of gets more, probably not quite as accurate as the other ones, but yeah, and also it's not an exact science. So if a teacher says, okay, they did really well, but usually they don't, the teacher would put them where he or she thought that would be best. Okay, so here's just a little example of scheduling. They've divided them into colors, which is what I've seen, what happens a lot, or numbers or something like that. And every group will be a different level, if it's low, middle, or even if it's just like 3, low, mid, and high, whatever they fit into. And yeah, this would be a good thing for the students to remember. So if they're can't remember if they're group 1, they'll probably remember if they're a cat or if they're their favorite color or something like that. Okay, and then in this, not necessarily every time, but in this, the lower levels meet more often. In the classroom that I'm in right now, they go the same number of times every week, every level does, but those lower level readers might need some more assistance. So in this example, it has them more often.
Okay, so there's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to guided reading. They increase their vocab, comprehension, knowledge, fluency, all that stuff. They interact with their peers because when they're in groups, you want to talk amongst each other so they're not just sitting there quietly. They become stronger readers because they're correcting their struggles, especially when they're doing it with the teacher, because then the teacher can see what they're missing and the teachers can find ways how to fix it correctly. And it helps them just enjoy reading because when they read aloud, they start to become more confident in themselves. And especially if they're reading books that they enjoy, then they're going to want to read more books. Some cons are, some researchers have found that doesn't increase their reading ability because they're only reading at their reading level, they're not reading at a higher level. So one researcher suggested that go slightly above their reading level so they're getting more challenged. They need to be pushed, and if they're not pushed and they're not going to feel the need to excel, they're just going to be, okay, I'm here, I'm fine with that. In the groups, they're all being given different reading instructions because they're at different levels, and they don't think that's always a good thing either. Students aren't interacting with a variety of leveled readers, so that's a problem because if they're not with maybe a low and a high group, then those low groups aren't getting the knowledge and hearing the words that these higher group readings are getting, and so then their achievement will not increase. And also, if some students do know what reading level they're at, especially if they're in the low, it doesn't build their self-esteem or confidence in reading, so.
So this reading strategy was actually developed in New Zealand in the 1960s, which is pretty early for like a reading strategy to be developed. But it wasn't actually used here until Fontes and Pinnell really are the ones that really got started here. Andrew called them the gurus of this strategy. But yeah, they're the ones that made it mainstream and a normal thing for English classrooms to have. Some current research that's done on it, in a source that we found, there was a study done where they instructed teachers, about 250 teachers, on how to correctly teach the guided reading strategies and gave them more teaching years down the road, about 2 or 3 years. And they noticed in the very first time they did this, for the first grade they did this, the learning increased by 16%, just by using the guided reading strategy instead of the teacher's normal strategy. The second year they did it, it increased by 28%, and the third year it increased by 32%. And the students' vocabulary and comprehension also increased. You can see that the teachers got more and more confident using this strategy, and they learned more about how to correctly use it. So it just became, the students in turn